Okay, Assalamualaikum and good morning to all of the participants. First of all, I would like to explain to all of the participants the agenda today. Okay, so at 9 a.m. in Indonesia, time in Indonesia, we have opening remarks by University Malaysia-Perlis, and then at 9:05 a.m. we have keynote speech from UniMAP, and then we also have question and answer session. Okay, and then and 9:35 we have introduction of forum topic and explanations of the rules and regulations of the presentation and question and answer session. And then at 9:40 a.m. we have introductions of presenting teams. So we have 4 teams. First we have team A, second team B, and third team C, and then the last one is actually team D. Okay, then we are going to take an interim break, and I'm going to collect questions on the floor. So you need to type your questions in the text box, and then we are going to move on to the question and answer session. And then after that, we are going to have a voting and award session for the best group presentation. And then we are going to have concluding remarks by University Malaysia-Perlis. And then we also have photo session after that, and then we're going to finish our program. Okay, but before that, I would like to explain the guidelines for the presenters. Okay, so the mode of presentations. So each team will be allocated a maximum of 15 minutes for the whole presentation. The student might be asked to conclude their presentation if they have used up their time, and each of the team members should involve in the presentation at any time of the presentation. The presenter may use any presentation aids or software such as PowerPoint, animation, etc., as long as the content can be shared via the present screen function in Microsoft Teams. Okay? And then about awards and e-certificates. An e-certificate of appreciation and best group presentation will be issued to the participants who have participated throughout the program. A fully funded participation fees for Asia Summer Program ASP 2021 hosted by UniMAP will be awarded to the best team members. And then the attendance will be taken at the end of the program via Microsoft Teams chat box. Microphone will be muted by default. The e-certificate of participation will be emailed to the eligible members after the program. Okay, so we move on to the opening remarks. Okay, so opening remarks will be given by Dr. Hu Peng-yong, the Deputy Director of Center for International Engagement, University Malaysia-Perlis. So I would like to invite Dr. Hu Peng-yong to deliver his opening remarks.
All right. Thank you so much, the delightful and ever cheerful moderator, Dr. Muhammad Shahidan, for inviting me to give an opening speech. So first up, a very good morning to all participants, the students, the distinguished professors, associate professors, lecturers, senior lecturers, the staff from international offices from the different universities, including the 6 universities who will be hosting the upcoming series 1 to 6 in this year. And of course, additional 3 more universities that we have invited to join our program this time as an observer. So a very good morning, selamat siang, selamat pagi, selamat sejahtera, sawadee. I hope that I say it correctly. All right, so welcome to the second series of the IMT-GT Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand Growth Triangle UNINET University Network. So basically, this is a virtual mobility program that we have been doing since last year. And this year around, to make it more relevant to whatever that we are facing nowadays, we are expanding our understanding and our knowledge, not only amidst the COVID-19 pandemic era nowadays, but we are expanding our view and insights into the SDG, the Sustainable Development Goals as well. So as you can see in this upcoming series and another 4 series coming forwards, we are all looking into the SDG goals that were set by United Nations in the hope that we will allow the students or to prepare a platform for the students to have their say in this kind of the SDG that is focused by not all of the nations, but also the varsity students, and everyone plays a part in order to make all these goals a possible one. Now, we are very honored to be the second host for this series. In fact, we were together with USK, Universitas Syiah Kuala, and TSU, Thaksin University from Thailand. We have already hosted 6 series last year, and this year together with a new member, UNAND, PSU, hopefully we'll make it more interesting this year for the students to have their say in the developing issues of matters on our hand now. Now, this series, we are focusing on the SDG, focusing on the quality renewable energy, right? So we are looking into the possibility of all of us having renewable, cheap source, affordable source of renewable energy. However, we always ask the questions, whether are we ready for this? So as the title shows, this is about teens talk, right? So we want to listen to the teens' idea rather than listen to me, right? An old man standing in front of you saying things like this. But this will be a very good platform, and I hope that everyone who attends this particular meeting will gain a thing or two. I think the most important the take back information that we would like to have is to see or to peek into the minds of these young, brilliant leaders or future leaders that is going to lead our country in one day, hopefully. And what is their take on the quality and affordable renewable energy? That's why we pose a question to them. Are we on the right track? Are we even actually are looking forward for this? How is the approach done by these 3 countries and of course collectively as the IMT-GT growth triangle? Are we working together, moving to the correct goal for the greater cause? So all of this we will get to know more once we move on to the presentation by all of the students. So I myself especially, I'm very looking forward into listening to their presentation to be done by 4 groups. And this time around, we make it very special as well. We actually have invited the respective experts from UniMAPs to be the mentor for the students. And from our observation, I think the students have learned a lot from our mentors as well. And I'm sure that our mentors have been having a great time guiding them as well. But as I said, more importantly, what we really want to see in this event is to listen to what the teens are going to tell us. Are they going to give us a very hopeful future? Or are we going to listen to a very depressing kind of a future awaits us despite the COVID-19 pandemic? how has the COVID-19 pandemic changes our lifestyle in terms of using and electricity, energy, and more importantly, are we actually really using renewable energy? So all of these questions will be answered, hopefully, through the Q&A sessions and through the presentation by the students as well. But nevertheless, I must mention that we are very honored to have actually invited our keynote speaker today as well. So our keynote speaker today, later my friend Dr. Shahidan, the moderator, will be introducing him in depth. So I'm not going to go through that, but I would like to take this opportunity to once again thank everyone that has involved in this particular program, including but not limiting to, of course, my fellow colleagues over here in UniMAP, the keynote speakers, the mentors that have spent hours of time guiding the students to perfect their presentation slides. Of course, Dr. Shahidan, the moderator for today, he got a long day to go today. And of course, the students who have extending this program, whether you are an attendee or you are an audience or you are a presenters, we are all looking forward for you to learn a thing or two through this program. In fact, after all, virtual mobility program is all about having cultural exchange, thoughts exchange, and idea exchange. It's just that we are going to do it virtually because of the COVID-19 pandemic nowadays. Now, my shout outs to all the staff, lecturers, international office, my colleagues, friends from different university, other than the 6 university I mentioned just now, UniMAP, USK, TSU, PSU, UNAND, and UUM. I would like to have a special shout out to the 3 additional observing universities that we have invited them to join us, and hopefully, finger crossed, everyone, that we are going to do this program, this series of a program next year, and we are going to do even more series when we involve more universities. So that is something for you to look forward. And we are also looking forward to make this an online event into an offline event as well once the pandemic is over, hopefully. So then we will be able to meet everyone face to face in person. And I believe more encouraging and more discussion can be done through these fruitful meetings. Now, without further ado, I think last but not least, I thank everyone once again for attending this meeting. And we hope that we can all enjoy these events. But if you have any question, what's not, please do type in the chat box. I'm sure that Dr. Shaidan has guided you all about that. But once again, thank you so much for attending this program. Let us all embark on a journey for knowledge and knowledge enrichment, and more importantly, to celebrate the hard work, the efforts, and the creativity by our students. Thank you so much for your time. Let me pass the mic back to Dr. Shahidan. Dr. Shahidan, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Ho Peng Yong, for the opening remarks. Now we move on to the next sessions. We are going to listen to the keynote speech given by Dr. Muhammad Nasir bin Ayub. For your information, Dr. Muhammad Nasir bin Ayub is a senior lecturer from the Faculty of Electrical Engineering Technology, University Malaysia. For your information also, he earned his PhD in electrical from Uppsala University, Sweden in 2019. He also earned his Master of Engineering, specializing in electrical, mechatronic, and automatic control from University Technology Malaysia. And then he earned his Bachelor of Engineering, specializing in mechatronics from University Science Malaysia. For your information also, his area of expertise includes wave energy, optimization, computational intelligence, robotics, and automation. Before this, he joined the Swedish Center for Renewable Electric Energy Conversion, building and evaluating marine renewable power system. His job scope includes software simulations and lab environments, testing of onshore measurement, cabin setup, and offshore deployments. Okay, without further ado, I would like to invite Dr. Muhammad Nasir bin Ayub to deliver his keynote speech.
Assalamualaikum and very good day. You can hear my as well as you can see my picture and presentation. Hello. Okay. Without any delay, I would because give me a chance to share some of my work and then to be in part of this great event. Okay, and I will share my presentation. Okay, I hope you can see this presentation. And to organizer, please let me know if the slide is missing or other things like that. And today I am given a task or the themes for today's event is related to renewable energy. And then so I propose the title here is Recent Trend in Renewable Energy, Clean Energy from Ocean Wave. And there are many renewable energy source and a bit on ocean wave because I know it's quite common to you to have heard about wind power or otherwise solar PV and other type of renewable energy like biomass and then geothermal or otherwise is hydropower. Okay, so on behalf of University Malaysia Perlis, I will share some part and then discuss with you this part of this title related to ocean wave in specific way, and then we go a bit more general on the part of renewable energy in general. Okay, so the outline for the presentation today, I will introduce the things related to the wave, to tides, the formation of tide, formation of waves, and then the type of wave energy converter, and then we will take a look at several case study related to wave energy research, and then go into the broader way, how this thing affects in going to highly or fully renewable power system. And in this field, we will take a look at the intermittence in renewable energy, and then the climate change leadership. How does the decision or the option from a consumer can speed up the phasing out of fossil fuel? And then I will finish the presentation with a conclusion. Okay, first, let's see the formation of tides. Okay, you know, tides is everywhere as long as we have this coastal region where it goes up and down in different period of the time, depends on where we live in part of the globe. Okay, and then from this figure above, I share with you two type of tide, which is the spring tide and the neap tide. Okay, on the top figure we have I have allocate as a presentation or as the clearer understanding to positioning of the moon and the sun. So let's see on this arrangement we have the same direction of the gravitational pull from the sun and the moon, and thus it's creating so it's creating the tidal batch on the same side of the Earth's surface here, and another part is the opposite side or the other side of the Earth. So this can create a large tidal or large bars of the tide, because yeah, if you look at here, we have solar tide colored in gray, and then we have lunar tide due to the gravitational pull from the moon, and then the combination of both, we will have very high tidal batch. Okay, but in different allocation of the moon, this is called the nip tide, meaning that the moon and the sun will be in the right angle. Okay, and the pull on the water or the ocean water of the surrounding the earth will have two different directions of the tide or the gravitational pull. One is from the sun, and then it's slightly or significantly lowered compared to the pull from the moon. And then we have two tides. One is in this horizontal, and then another is in this vertical, if we are looking at by assuming that there is no inclinations of the moon and the sun, because for this presentation we assume that the inclinations between the moon and the sun is 0, so that this is the perfect formations of the tide. Otherwise, if we have the inclinations, we will have not a perfect like this. We have a slightly in degree slantingly based on the positioning of the moon. Okay, in general, tides are divided or classed into 3. We have diurnal tides, and the diurnal tide is only one high tide and one low tide in every period of the day, meaning that in one day you will experience one high tide and one low tide. But in many cases, or commonly in many places in the Earth's surface, we will have semi-diurnal tide, whereby we will have 2 high tides and 2 low tides. Okay, and then due to the positioning of this moon and the sun combined, we will also have this mix of the tide, where we have 2 low tide and 2 high tide. This is all will be based on the different locations or to the distributions of the continent, and then the topography different in the region where we will different tide cycle. But most common is semi-diurnal tides. Okay, the previously is the formation of the tides, and this the next slide is actually the formation of the wave. Okay, we have 3 different type of the wave in general, and then the first one is wind and swell wave. We have a wave due to wind surge, and then we have sea wave of seismic origin. Okay, for the case of wind and swell wave, okay, due to the wind blow on the ocean surface in a certain distance from the shore, transfer energy at the time, it create the motion, or it creates the current with the small wave along with the wind. But when the wind is ceasing, but this wave is continue to propagate towards the beach or to the shore, and then this is called the swell wave. And for the case of the wind wave or the swell wave, we can say that over the time or at any time we will experience or we will have the wave at along the shore. It's just that it might be high, or it could be lower in amplitude or in magnitude. And then for the case of wind surge, okay, this wind surge is due to the or I can say that this is a very huge wave, and then it's only happened or only created based on the phenomenon of the storm, for example, or hurricane or typhoon, or maybe tropical cyclone, and then this is very huge wave. And then another type of wave is the wave created from the sea wave of seismic origin. Okay, maybe in general, or outline of this presentation, I will go only on part of the surface of this presentation, because I just noticed that many of the presenter and the participant is with a different background, so it's more, I think it's good to have this a broad overview of what we have related to this renewable energy. I hope this suits this event well. Okay, sorry for this. And then yeah, get back to the slide now. Sea wave of seismic origin. Okay, this wave is created due to the change in the sea floor. For example, we have a submarine or coastal earthquake, or otherwise it could be due to the volcanic eruptions, and this can create a very huge wave, and the wavelength could be in 100 kilometer, and then the wave height will be in in the order of 2 magnitude. And okay, so in general, if we want to create this wave energy converter, we have 3 waves, and then so what kind of wave we want to absorb the energy from? And then of course it's common to have something that we have all the time, which is we have to target to design the wave energy converter, or the wave energy device that will take power all the time, not necessarily too big, but it's consistent. And then looking at these 3, of course, we will focus or we will dimensions so that our device will be based on the wind and swell wave. But the things now is we have to dimensions that it can also withstand the harsh force or the rough of the sea water, or of the ocean environment, based on the material. It could be rusty, and it could be hit by heavy storm. So we have to deal with these 2 things. We could increase the investment so that our device can withstand very high power, or very high or harsh ocean environment. But at the same time, we have to compromise how much energy, or how much we can produce from this wave. Okay, so this is still a big concern to different wave energy generator, may it be a commercialized company or research in the university. Okay, get back to this slide. So in general, power from the wave can be determined or can be estimated based on this general formula. Is related to how high is the wave, represented by this H, and then how long the energy is affected by the wave density, or the seawater density, and then the square of the gravitational pull. Okay, and then in order to create this wave energy converter, the general says in this blue color, in order for an oscillating system to be a good wave absorber, it should be a good wave generator. Meaning that if we are designing something like a floating device, and then this device in the plain water or in the calm water, you can oscillate this device, and then eventually it can create oscillating wave. So the same device should be able to be the wave, but will be stopped or will be absorbed its energy, and this energy converted to the electric energy for our case. Okay, but the thing is how much of this energy from the water wave can be converted to electric energy. Okay, and then concern about this energy, we know that compared to solar PV or solar power, compared to, and then the energy density in the wave is really high, even though if we able to absorb around 20% of the wave, it's very good enough as the wave energy converter, provided it can withstand the harsh environment, and then it can operate continuously in the long run. And yeah, go to the next slide. Okay, I would like to share some different type of wave energy converter. So in general, we have the wave energy converter is divided into three group, or based on its working principle, and then this definitions is actually there are many ways to define or to group with energy converter, and one of them is working principle, and then this method is accepted in the last part of the wave energy research community. Okay, the first is oscillating water column, and then we have oscillating bodies, and then we have overtopping device. So it's so all these three is actually the working principle of wave energy generator. Okay, for oscillating water column, let's see. This is the fixture of. We have fixed structure, and we have a floating structure of OWC. And then for the case of this figure is actually named limpet. And then even though the wave energy converter is still not in fully commercialized, but people have tried and commissioned several type of wave energy converter in several parts of the world. And then, for example, limpet here, it's in operation since until 2013, and then it has been installed and connected to the national grid. It's in operation until 2013, and then for the case of this floating, we call this spar buoy. The operation or the principle is this is fully floating on the water surface, so it does not mounted to any fixed structure, but this limpet here, it's installed on the shore, and then it's built up from the concrete structure. But for the case of floating spar buoy here, the motion of this two structure on the top or on the surface of the water, and then we have part which is submerged in the water, and then different motion of this water wave will create the pressure inside this column, and then eventually it generate different in water pressure, so it goes out and get into this column, and then eventually generating the electric by turning the turbine. Okay, another type of wave energy converter is the oscillating bodies. Okay, we call this the wave bob. Okay, and the structure, it has two fixed structure, and then the top part it follows the water surface, and then the bottom part also it follows the water surface, but with lag in the phase compared to the top part, and then this different motions is creating the pressure inside of the structure, and then it's this pressure is brought up to the shore, and then we install the pressure or water pump so that it's turned the turbine, and then eventually the energy. Okay, and then this floating device of wave bob is moored to the moored to the sea floor. Okay, and another type of oscillating bodies, this is called oyster, and then this installed close to the shore, and then when the wave, incoming wave hit, and it will this oyster, and then it creates a different in water pressure or liquid pressure, and then it brought the power to the power conversion plant, and then turn the turbine, and it's generating energy from there. Okay, and then another concept or another working principle of wave energy is this is tap chan, or it's actually tapered channel as the short. And then how does this thing work is actually when the incoming wave hit this tap chan channel, and then the energy or the wave will flow upwards into this reservoir, and then when wave is returned to the sea, we will have this high potential or higher potential energy of the water will flow out through the turbine house, and then this will turn the turbine, and the same concept, it will generate electricity. The working the wind turbine, okay, but for this case it's actually the sea water. And then another overtopping device, this is fully floating device. We install this a bit far from the seashore, and then how does this work is actually with the same principle. When it hits with the water wave, and then there is water trap in the reservoir, and then when the wave is gone, and then it will release the reservoir, and then eventually turns the turbine. Right, so this is all the wave energy types. Some of these has been decommissioned, and then there are many more different type of wave energy converter proposed and then tested in the sea. But I would say that compared to the solar PV, compared to the wind turbine, this is considered still could be in baby stage, and then the research community still haven't a solid conclusion which waste energy converter is the best option to produce power consistently over the long period of time. Okay, but talking about this wave energy converter, the first, or we could say the father of modern wave energy converter is Yoshio Masuda. He's a Japanese, and then he has developed this wave energy converter type of oscillating water column, and then it's been in operation since 1926, and then it works for the purpose of producing energy for navigation buoy. Okay, so that's all about a brief description about the background of the wave, and then I will proceed with a broader view of the combination of wave energy research. Okay, and then let's take a look at some of the case study related to wave energy potential, and for this case. We have done this for the regions of Nordic synchronous power system, and then the Nordic here means we are analyzing the power for several Nordic countries, which is Norway, Finland, Sweden, and the west of Denmark, because the east of Denmark is interconnected with other country or Western European country like Germany and France as the DC interconnection. But the Nordic synchronous grid itself is actually connected to the east of Denmark and then other three Nordic region. Okay, and then we try to analyze the wave energy potential up to 50 terawatt hour scenario for a year, and then projection the availability of renewable energy resource for a highly or a fully renewable power system. Okay, so for the case of energy potential, before we can dimension or before we can design a wave energy converter, we have to do the feasibility study. We have to analyze how much potential do we have along the shore, and then we have to project how much can we convert and contribute to the energy system. And then I would say that we have 1, 3, and 10 and 50 terawatt hour, and then based on the certain calculation and formulations, then we come out with the distribution of the wave energy like this. And then it looks like it's fully occupied the whole region of these Nordic countries, but it's actually just for clear representation of the placement of the wave farm. And then, but in actual, let's take a look at this small square in red color, and then in actual, it is very small compared to the size of the coastal region. Okay, so this is one type of wave energy converter. We have buoy on the top, and we have the linear translator at the bottom installed on the seafloor. And then when the wave come, it's oscillating this buoy and eventually creating the energy from this motion of the translator in the stator. Okay, this is some of the device. This is can be applied. This case study has been applied in the Europe, but I think the same we can do if we are going to analyze the feasibility or the potential on the ASEAN region. Okay, so I will talk about the intermittent of wind power, wave power, solar power, and the tidal power. And then because why we call this intermittent, because compared to the hydropower, we know that usually we have all the time that the water is there, but sometimes it's just the level is low, or otherwise it's high and release. But for the case of wind, it's really fully intermittent. Sometimes it is predictable, and then many times it's not. But in terms of predicting the power absorption, it's I would say that the prediction is really quite high. Okay, but for the wave power, this is considered intermittent, but yet it's much better compared to the other resource, as the wave it can come and it's all the time. And then compared to the solar power, it's also predictable. It's happen daily, or it's occurred daily on daylight, but it's gone at the night. But the thing is, it also will be affected due to the appearance or blocking from the cloud. So this cloud will interrupt or affects the predictions significantly. And then we have tidal power. The working principle is more like the wave power. And then this is the analysis, and I will show the analysis is done for different periods of frequency, and I will share with you this graph. Okay, let's take a look. Okay, if let's say this is the current energy utility or the energy consumption. We have net load. This net load is defined as the power consumption at the consumer level, the industry, and then the electricity for transport. And then this blue color is actually the thermal power. It's come from the fossil fuel, for example, or petroleum or coal. And then this green color is actually the power that we consume. And then this blue color is nuclear power. This is for the case of Nordic. And then if we are replacing the coal or high part of the coal or fossil fuel, it will look like this. And then this light green is actually the thing that we have to address. So we cannot create the resource availability, but we have to deal with the resource intermittency. So this is the constraint that if we are going to replace the fossil fuel, do we have enough resource provided that it has the intermittency? Okay, so let's say, okay, now we are closing most of the electric supply, or we cut off because due to the constraint of the total lockdown, and then we stop many of the industries, and then stop or we limit the civil or public transport, and then we reduce this power a lot. But for the case of fossil fuel, it's easy to plan. Okay, but for the renewable energy, it's not easily to come and start and stop. Okay, so that is the concern or challenge if we are replacing the transportable energy with the local available renewable energy. Okay, so the grid operator plans the operation in 3 different time scale as shown in figure. So we have seconds to minute regulations. So we have tens to up to hours load following, and then also daily and hour scheduling. And then this will be much more difficult if we are dealing with the seasonal change. For example, in some part of the world, they have to deal with the seasonal change like winter season and then the summer season. So the utility or utilization of the load will be different. So they have to have planned forward. Will it be possible to replace all these things with the intermittent renewable energy? Okay, and then okay, this is the representation of the power distribution. We have in the past a single operator when we have substation to distribute to the consumer, to the commercial, and then to the industrial usage. But in future, this could be different, and then even now, the work has been started so that there are some SDG generations, and then there are pre-connected or interconnected microgrids towards the international or to the national grid, and then there are controlled stations in every grid. Okay, and then that not only a single generator plant, but they are also contributed by even the consumer placing this solar PV on the rooftop of the house, and also so this is considered the future energy generations. Okay, also we have been advanced in forecasting the energy, may it be from the solar irradiation, wind speed, wave power, or the tidal. Okay, and then also in terms of energy storage, it's good if because we have advanced in energy storage, and then we also have advanced in battery storage capacity. So it's feasible or it's possible to store the excess energy in the storage, and then use the same installed energy when the energy demand is increased. So there are several types of storage. Thermal storage, we have compressed air, we have hydrogen fuel, pump hydraulic storage, flywheel, and commonly is, and this all type of storage has been in research to improve its performance. Okay, then also we as the consumer, previously I have talked about the technology, about the potential and the availability of the energy. Will it be possible for us to use the energy? And but now we as the consumer, if we take this parallelism analogy of the bank system and the power system, so we can decide how much or how fast the phasing out of the nuclear power and then the fossil fuel is towards the current implementation and then the future energy. Maybe I think I can stop here and maybe we can talk or discuss more on when in the sessions of Q&A.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Nasir, for the informative speech. So now we move on to question and answer session. So those who have any questions, we are going to turn on your mic and then you can speak out your question. You have to raise your hand and we are going to turn on your mic and then you can say your question, you can speak your question. Any questions from the audience? Okay, I think I have a question to Dr. Nasir.
Okay.
Since we know that renewable energy is actually, good at conserving the environment. So, however, our countries, not only our countries, most of the countries are still dependent on non-renewable energy like gas, coals. So maybe what do you think about the cost? Maybe the cost is actually higher than non-renewable energy. So can you explain in terms of the cost? Maybe the cost is higher than non-renewable energy. That's why we are not dependent on. We still dependent on non-renewable energy.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Shahidan, for the question. And then I will go back to one of the slides there. I hope you can see this figure. Okay, talking about, everyone knows that renewable energy is good, but the thing is how much we can sacrifice or we can pay in order to get the better energy or the clean energy. Okay, we know that it's quite cheap in terms of the energy in the oil producer countries. But even though if we look around, the penetrations of the solar PV is quite high, I would say, in most of the developed country, and especially in the high solar irradiation country like our ASEAN region, like Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand. We have very high solar irradiation compared to the northern hemisphere or southern hemisphere country. And then the solar irradiations, it creates a high intensity or high energy generation. Okay, and then in terms of the cost, in the beginning, the cost for 1 meter times 1 meter solar panel is really expensive. But compared to the last 10 years, it's much more cheaper to be installed. So I think with the advancements of the technology of producing the solar panel, and then with the selections of the most sustainable material for the solar panel production, I think we are going forward towards this selection of the clean renewable energy. And then actually in Europe, there has a guarantee that people will get the energy from what they pay. For example, the energy provider, and then they have the contract that, for example, I would like to have only the green power come to my house. So even though this power is actually met in the transmission line, but I will only pay what energy I want, and then this payment will forward to this energy generator. So imagine that if more and more consumers have this consideration, then we will have more company to develop their own renewable energy generator plant, and then somehow or eventually this will phasing out the conventional energy or the coal energy. And then actually the more we provide or the more supply in the long run, this cost will actually reduce and maybe in one time, except for the spending of the operations, we are not spending for the source anymore, okay? Because for the coal, we spend to buy the source, okay, to buy the petroleum. But for the wind, we are not spending for the source. We are spending more towards the operations of the system. Okay, I think hopefully it's answer your questions, Dr. Syahidan.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Nasir. Any more questions from the audience? Do you have any questions? You may raise your hand. You may have, if you have questions, you may raise your hand and then you can speak your questions rather than type your questions in the text box. Okay, okay, we have questions from Redo and Desa Putra.
Can you hear me?
Okay, now.
Okay, thank you. So I would like to ask a question regarding that the renewable energy is intermittent, and as you know that not all of the country is having a luxury to have a proper plan, a proper power plan for this kind of energy. What do you think the solution for the countries that have not this luxury of the resource that they can use for the renewable energy? Thank you.
Okay, I think at the current stage, yeah, I can say that spending towards the wave energy will be most expensive. Okay, but we don't have the guarantee how long it will run and in operation. But spending towards the solar PV is getting cheaper and much cheaper compared to the previous decade. And then maybe not now, but I think in less than and in a decade, we will have a small solar panel or for the consumer solar panel for the individual usage is considered affordable. And then, yeah, talking about this cost, anyhow, we can say that over the long run or in long term, the cost for fossil fuel or the petroleum will keep increasing, okay? Yeah, I don't think it will reduce in price more and more. But it's a different case for the renewable energy. The cost for the installment and then for the operation is getting low. I mean, it's not linear, but it's significantly decreased. And if we have started, for example, maybe in the case of isolated island, for example, installing the power plant or fuel power plant, it will also take a huge amount of investment. But you consider this small area, if you are planning or if you are installing the solar PV, I think this is much more beneficial and more profitable. Yeah. Do not think about the very last scale of the installment first, but we can go in the micro scale and then keep increasing this until we fully develop the renewable energy system. Yeah, I hope it's answered the question.
Thank you, Dr. Nasir. I guess we have run out of time, so thank you, Dr. Nasir, for your for sharing the knowledge. I hope that everyone's gained knowledge from the speech. So now we move on to the next session. So we are going to have a team's presentation, but before that, I would like to explain that there are four groups. We have Group A, Group B, Group C, and Group D. Okay, so after this, I would like to invite all of the members to introduce themselves. Okay, so we can start from Group A. For your information, Group A has been mentored by Senior Dr. Nurhanisah Baharudin. So I would like to invite Nadifah Akbari Habibi. You can introduce yourself and followed by your members.
Okay, my name is Adiba Imanisa Sabila. I'm from Group A. I'm in Bachelor of Chemical Engineering program from University Syiah Kuala. And then we have Superwich Prep Club, a Bachelor of English from Thaksin University. And we have Nadifa Akbari Habibi, Bachelor of Management from UNAND. And we have Shara Karmila, a Bachelor of Development Management from UUM. And we have Chaiwat from the Bachelor of English from Prince of Songkla University, and then Lim Zuan Huang from Bachelor of Environmental Engineering from UniMAP. And we are from Group A. Thank you.
Selamat pagi, selamat sejahtera, sawadika. We conducted a mini survey across Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand amongst 105 students. And from what we found that the data is that 83.7% thinks that electricity is too expensive. Only 4% thinks their country's electricity coverage is above 99%. 66.7% believe that we are on the right track towards affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy. The average spending per household is $36.5 for electricity each month, and only 89% believes that renewable energy is actually better. Now, the real question is, are we truly on the right track? That's why we from Group A, representing Indonesia, there's Nadifa, myself, and Adiba. Representing Malaysia, there's Lim and Shara. And representing Thailand, there's Chaiwat and Supawich. And today, in our presentation outline, we will be presenting about the background of our problems with electricity percentages, sources of electricity, renewable energy percentages, and the prices of electricity, trade-offs, government commitments, as well as truly finding out from the perspective that we found at the beginning of our presentation, if it matches the facts that we have found and are we truly on the right track.
So, as we did some research about the accessibility to electricity among the three countries, we found out that according to the annual report of Suruhanjaya Tenaga of Malaysia, in 2020, about 99.9% of the population have access to electricity. Meanwhile, in Thailand, 99.9% has access to electricity based on the data from World Bank Group Organization. As for Indonesia, 99.2% electricity access percentage based on population cited from the Directorate of Electricity, Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources Statistics of Indonesia, compared to the world average of 90.08%.
Next, in 2019, Peninsular Malaysia had a population of approximately 26 million living on its land, and 99.9% of them had access to electricity. While for East Malaysia, with a population of 3.9 million, it was 98% electrified. Next.
As we can see here from the graph, we have the renewable energy for Malaysia.
From Thailand, we spend conventional energy about 11.5%, natural gas 64.3%, and renewable 24.2%. And the last one from Indonesia, conventional energy, they spend 67%, natural gas 18.1%, and renewable energy 15%. And this one for electricity price, $10 per kilowatt. There are many types of uses such as household, MS business, LS business, MS industry, and LS industry. For the first country, Indonesia, they spend 11 cents USD per kilowatt. From Malaysia, 10 cents USD per kilowatt. And from Thailand, they spend 12.41 cents USD per kilowatt. Next.
Okay, trade-off. Trade-off is exchange something of value, especially as part of a compromise. Trade-off in adapting affordable, reliable, sustainable, and clean renewable energy dominate environment for developing countries. First of all, cost of setting up distributed generation is high and maintenance is needed. Second, solar energy is input occurs early in daytime, not fully efficient. Third, renewable energy needs rough area for setup and hence destroy the habitats of animals. Fourth, potential toxic waste from short-lived batteries is not disposed correctly. Fifth, Malaysia invests $8 billion in order to achieve its target of 23% electricity generation from resources by 2025. Indonesia invests $36.95 billion to achieve its target of 23 electricity generation from resources by 2025, and Thailand invests $2.6 billion to achieve its target of 30% electricity generation from resources by 2037. Next slide, please. Importance of using clean, affordable, sustainable, renewable energy in developing countries. First of all, price of investment. Second one, healthier air. You can consume healthier air and less pollution. The third one, equal energy distribution. More people can have access to electricity. And the fourth one, self-generated power. And finally, no more imports source of energy. For example, Malaysia importing coal. We need to act fast to prevent our city sinking by 2100 due to the emission of greenhouse gases and mitigate the impact of global warming.
As for the government IMT-GT commitments, we can see that in the next slide, Indonesia's government has actually increased the investments regarding renewable energy, for example, like biosolar or solar with geothermal, hydropower, although it's not as huge compared to the fossil fuel energy spent within the years of 2013 until 2019. But we can see the gradual increase slowly but surely in terms of renewable energy investments within Indonesia itself. And so for the feed-in tariff, which is the incentive coming from the government and to encourage students to be able, not only students, but also the citizens to be able to actually use renewable energy like hydro and wind or solar and PV, biomass, and depending on what kind of voltage you're using, medium voltage or low voltage, or where you are living in Sumatra, Java, or Kalimantan. For example, me, if I'm using hydro and wind power, I would get a discount of 7.87 cents USD per kilowatt hour that I use, and people in Kalimantan would have a different discount depending on where you live. Next slide, please.
As for Indonesia, the government plans to increase the use of new renewable energy to 23% by 2025 and to 31% by 2050. In 2021, government has set 4 priority programs. The first one is mandatory B30 sustainability by mixing 30% of biofuel with 70% solar fuel, biomass coal firing in which biomass used as substitute or mixed with coal on steam power plant, the acceleration of solar power plant development, and fossil energy power plant conversion to renewable energy power plant. Next slide. Here we could see a few renewable energy power plants in Indonesia. The first one is Serula Geothermal Power Plant in North Sumatra, and it is the third biggest geothermal power plant after America and Philippines. The second one is Sidrap Wind Farm. It is the biggest wind farm in Southeast Asia and located in South Sulawesi. And there is an independent solar power plant located in East Nusa Tenggara, and it is the initiative in reaching out electricity to remote area in Indonesia. For installed capacity in Indonesia, in 2018, we have 6,830 megawatt dominated by hydro and geothermal, and it increases to 10,467 megawatt at the end of 2020, also dominated by hydro and geothermal. Here we can see massive increase of biomass use in renewable power plant. And in 2021, the government targeted to reach 12,009 megawatt. Next slide.
As for Malaysia, in order to achieve 20% of renewable energy capacity mix by 2025, there are several plans and programs made by the government, which are the first one is Peninsular Malaysian Generation Development Plan from 2020 to 2030. Secondly is the large-scale solar program under the Limited Malaysian Plan. Third is the efficient management of electrical energy regulation. Fourth is the National Renewable Energy Policy. Fifth is the peer-to-peer solar power trading. Sixth is the net energy metering in Malaysia, and lastly is the Rural Electricity Supply Program. Sustainable Energy Development Authority of Malaysia has made several renewable energy programs for the betterment of Malaysians. With the use of photovoltaic, biogas, biomass, and small hydro energy sources, it contributes to several plans such as self-consumption programs, net energy metering programs, large-scale solar plants, and feed-in tariff plans. Next slide.
So these are the locations in Malaysia which support renewable energies. There are Sepang Solar Power Plant, then 7 megawatt biomass plant at the Daga Serpong Segan Berhad, and UPM wind turbine hybrid. Also, we have 1.5 megawatt biogas power plant at Pahang, and also Bakun hydroelectric power dam. Renewable energy installed in Malaysia achieved 243 megawatt in 2014 and 240 megawatt in 2020. And the amount of energy generated under the FIT is shown in the bar graph. We could see that in 2015 and 2018 have highest generation from solar photovoltaic. Next.
From Thailand Government Plan, Thailand's Alternative Energy Development Plan from 2018 to 2037. The second, Thailand's Power Development Plan. The third one, Thailand's Policy and National Planning related to smart grid. And the last one, EGAT Renewable Power Plant Development in 2020 to 2021. Thailand's Alternative Energy Development Plan 2018 to 2037. The target to increase the proportion of renewable energy and alternative energy in the form of electricity, heat, and biofuels by 30% in 2037. Thailand's Power Development Plan to aim and create stability and adequacy for the electricity and to encourage economic growth, social progress, and equality of life of people. Next.
This is installed capacity in Thailand. In 2017, they are combined cycle 50.5%, thermal 20.8%, renewable energy 16.8%, diesel 1%, and others 10.9%. In 2021, they are combined cycle 51.5%, thermal 23%, renewable energy 19.1%, diesel 0.2%, and others 6.25%. From the pie chart, it shows there is a higher percentage of renewable energy in Thailand from 2017 to 2021. These are renewable power plants in Thailand. For example, the first one, hydro floating solar hybrid project at Sarinthon Dam in Ubon Ratchathani province. The second one, Mitapha wind farm in Nakhon Ratchasima province. And the last one, Phumipol Dam hydropower in Tak province.
Okay. For IMT-GT, commitment is in Vision 2036, written in Environment Strategic Pillars. IMT-GT has a goal on achieving low carbon economy, especially in sustainability and promotion of renewable energy. This also includes in sustainable management of natural resources, protection, and biodiversity conservation. The main strategy are the first one, to undertake coordinated management of in natural resources such as forest, water, and wildlife, enhance in restoration of adjacent system, for instance, watersheds, breeding ground, and migrating routes of animal. And the last but not least, upscaling and replicating green city in sub-region within IMT-GT. Next.
So the question that we would really like to answer based on this question is that, are we truly on the right track regarding this problem? And the answer is, yes, we are. With real efforts as well as the amount of investments that our government has spent, and also the need and urgency for us to prevent climate change becoming worsened, and also the sinking cities possibility by 80 years from now, we need to act fast. Our efforts is real, and yes, we are on the right track, right? So for our acknowledgement slide, we would like to thank all the 6 universities involved, and also the organizing committee for the IMT-GT Team Talk, as well as the international offices from each university, from TSU, UUM, UniMAP, UNAND, Malaysia, and TSU. So we would also like to thank our mentor, Dr. Hanisa Baharudin, because without her, this talk would not happen today from Group A. Thank you so much, and we'll see you in the next talk.
Thank you, A. So we are going to move on to Group C first, then we go back to Group B. So for your information, Group C has been mentored by Dr. Muhammad Shohanas Zanar Azlan. So I would like to invite the members of the Group C to start presenting.
Okay, Swadikap and Selamat Pagi and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. So we are from group letter C, and we are proud to present to you about the affordable, sustainable, and reliable energy. Are we on the right track? And here are our members. My name is Huang from Thailand, and here's Reza Rizky from Indonesia, Hakim from Malaysia, Finda from Indonesia, Bazira from Malaysia, and Ahmad from Thailand. Ladies and gentlemen, we are from group letter C, and we're going to present to you the affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy. Are we on the right track? And here are my group members.
So here are the outline of our presentations today. There are several points starting from the introductions. We will present some valid data of the current situations right now regarding to electricity accessibility and the source of electricity generated in Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand. And we're also going to end the presentations with the conclusion of our presentation today. Next. So ladies and gentlemen, have you ever wondered, are there people in this world who do not have access to electricity? Well, unfortunately, the answer is yes. So these are the data of electrification ratio in Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand. Starting from Indonesia, as shown on the graph, for the past 5 years, starting from 2016 to 2020, Indonesia has already gradually increased its electricity accessibility. And in 2020, Indonesia reached 99.2% of electricity of its population, means that Indonesian population is already get access of electricity, but the rest is not. So the next country is Malaysia. As shown on the graph, Malaysian government already did a great job of maintaining the percentage of electricity accessibility from 2015 to the latest data 2019 at 100% of the populations. The last country is Thailand. From the graph, unfortunately, there was a degradation from the year 2018 to 2019 from 99.77% to 99.73%. But in 2020, Thailand reached 99.73% of electrification, but the rest of the household is not yet being electrified. Next.
Okay, thank you, Finda. Next is the source of electricity in Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand. Based on the chart, in Indonesia, the majority of the source of the electricity is using coal, which is 63.9%, and followed by gas, which is 15%. Next, in Malaysia, the majority of source of electricity is from petroleum and other liquids, which is 37%, and followed by natural gas, that is 36%. In Thailand, the majority of the source of electricity is natural gas, which is 64.3%, and followed by renewable energy, which is 24.2%. From this chart, we can see that from each country still use the majority of non-renewable energy as the main source of the electricity to power up their next. Let's move to renewable energy percentage chart. In Indonesia, the majority use of renewable energy source is hydro energy, which is 8.17%. And then followed by Malaysia, the majority use of renewable energy is hydro or marine, which is 78%. And last but not least, the use of renewable energy, which is 32.7%. This chart shows that even each country is still using renewable energy for their main source of electricity, but they still trying their best to use renewable energy instead depend on non-renewable energy. That's part for me. Next, Ahmad.
Awareness among varsity students. This part is about comparison between the students' perception and the fact. As you can see, three part chart in here, which is about the population in each country that they got access to electricity in percentage. So let's look at the first part chart from Indonesia. Most of them said that lower than 85% to 90% that they got access to electricity. And next from Malaysia, the majority of them said that 95% to 100% that they got access to electricity. Last is from Thailand. The student perception said that they can access electricity lower than 85%. As all of this information, I will be conclude that Malaysia aware of the accessing to electricity. This is about the energy sourcing this is the energy sources that people in each country using right now. So you can see from the first bar chart from Indonesia, the majority of them said that coal is the main sources that they use. From Malaysia, hydro energy is the main source that they think. And solar energy from Thailand, they think that is the more sources that they use. So this could be and conclude that Indonesia aware of the energy sources that they use. And this is about the average and also the percentage of electricity that people in each country pay per month regularly. So let's look at the first from Indonesia on the left side. So you can see that they pay lower than $7 and 14 to 21 US dollar, as well as more than 28 US dollar. And all of this is the same average, and also the majority of them. And next from Malaysia, the majority of them pay for electric bill about 24.26 to 121.30 US dollar. And the last is from Thailand. They also said that they pay for electric bill about 16.2 to 48.6 US dollar.
So why we must use clean, affordable, reliable, and sustainable renewable energy? Okay, to answer this question, we will show the case of the impact using renewable energy. For example, in 2014 in Kalimantan, Indonesia, almost half of all water bodies in this province at risk of being contaminated by coal mining waste. Greenpeace found that hazardous discharge of the acid mine waste were reached towards Kalimantan water bodies and surrounding environment. So the people in the neighboring and downstream communities were at risk to use contaminated water to bath, wash, and farm. So that really can give the bad impacts to the people around the coal mining.
Next is Malaysia. There is cases about impact of coal mining in Sarawak. In the district of Muka, Sarawak, the method of coal mining is carried out using the open cut method, which is a method commonly used to dig the soil on the surface of sand. However, mining activities have also been found to bring negative impact, such as environment pollution problem. This is because there are former coal mining sites that are not suitable for agriculture because due to the mining makes the soil no longer has nutrient and interfile. And mining has changed the landscape from a green cover area to a landscape of open land that has holes in its topography. Next, Thailand.
Okay, for Thailand was similar case to Indonesia and Malaysia, but instead it's not the coal mining, but instead it was the coal power plant. There was a protest in Tepa in Songkla province that people are not okay about the coal power plant building by the private company due to the air and water pollution that are caused by the power plant itself. So people out there are well aware about this and form the protest. As you can see from the three cases, we can show you that replacing non-renewable pollution energy sources with the renewable ones could improve the quality of life of local people who live in that impact areas.
So ladies and gentlemen, after we knew about the importance of using renewable energy in the context of urgency in Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand, so next here are the importance of using renewable energy in the three different aspects: economy, environment, and social. First, the economy. Why is renewable energy is important for economy sector? First, renewable energy is provide various type of job in its creation, such as manufacturing, installation, so on and so on. From this, renewable energy can offer more job variation to the society. It can also increase national economic growth and lowering the energy prices. If we switch to renewable energy, we can reduce the proportions of oil and gas, so the country will be having a more stable economy because we do not have to worry about the volatility of world oil prices. So we do not have to rely on the prices of fuel. Henceforth, we use renewable sources such as sun, hydro, wind, which is easy to get. Furthermore, government also can be more flexible in allocating the national budget because the subsidy for fuel will be drastically reduced. Move to the second aspect is the environment aspect. By using renewable energy, we can reduce emission, we can reduce greenhouse gases. Because why? Because we no longer discharging pollutants and gases to the atmosphere due to the productions of fossil fuels that can lead to global warming. We also do not have to discharge harmful wastewater to the water body, so we can have better quality water. And also in some cases, like using solar panel, it can save up a lot of land area because we can use solar panel and install it over our house roof. The next aspect is social. By using renewable energy and adapting this kind of energy, we can have a local employment and better health and create more job opportunities. And also we can have various choice of energy sources that comes from renewable energy.
Next is trade-off in adopting renewable energy dominant for developing countries. First is lowering state revenues from export of non-renewable resources. Most of developing countries, especially Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand, has exported most of the developing some natural resource for its financial support. Replacing the source of electricity from natural resource to renewable energy can lowering the state revenues from natural resource export activity because we no longer use natural resource as our source of power to light up our house. Means that we no longer exporting natural resource and gain money from that. Next is need high investment on research and development. This was attributed to the lack of interest and awareness on the need for R&D and the limited fund for R&D activities. Next, many renewable energy technology need extensive land area. This presents a big challenge and opportunities for the farming sector and also sacrifice something such as the habitat of flora and fauna.
So, is there any commitment from government or IMT-GT? Because the government play the important role to develop renewable energy in the future. Luckily, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand government have the target to increasing the use of renewable energy in the future. Like Indonesia government aim that the percentage using renewable energy as electricity will be 22% in 2020.
Sorry to interrupt. You have 3 more minutes.
Okay, sir. And 28% in 2038. And Malaysia government has ambitious target too. The Malaysia government has targeted that the use of renewable energy will grow 20% in 2035. And the Thailand government has the target to use renewable energy 30% in 2037. And also, Thai Ministry of Energy proposed 136 projects to develop renewable energy. In addition, IMT-GT also have the commitment to develop renewable energy from Vision 2036. IMT-GT have commitment on environment to promote renewable energy, energy efficiency, and green mobility.
In conclusion, we have shown that according to the fact, the news articles, and opinions from fellow students, we are on the right track to improvise, encourage, and develop renewable energy sources for saving our blue planet. And that's our final answer. On behalf of Group C, thank you and goodbye.
Thank you to Group C. Now we go back to Group B. So Group B, are you ready? Can you introduce yourself and then you can start your presentation?
Right, great. So, yeah. First of all, I want to introduce myself. My name is Muhammad Yusuf, and I am group leader for Group B. So I am from University Malaysia, Perlis, Malaysia. So I'm calling out Fly. Introduce yourself.
Yes, Anna Sanpan. I'm from Thaksin University.
Right, great. And then our friend Fahandika.
Hello, my name is Farhandika and I'm from Andalas University.
Right, great. And then our brother Ahmad Faisal.
Yes, my name is Ahmad Faisal from the UUM.
Right, great. Rizky.
Hi, my name is Rizky Wahidi. I'm from Syiah Kuala University.
Then we have Raya.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Sanglaya Kitisianpon from Prince of Songkla University, Thailand.
Right, great. So there you are. So we may start our presentation. Right, great. So yeah, we start the slide first.
I'm a survivor. I'm not gonna give up. I'm not gonna stop.
Good morning again, everyone. This is Team B, and today we are going to present on the topic that is showing on the screen right now: affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy. Are we on the right track? Well, are we? What do you think? It's not easy to answer, right? But don't worry, we have prepared a wide range of information to present to you today. And in the end, let's see whether our answer is the same as yours. Okay, so let me tell you about the topic that we are going to present to you today. First, we'll talk about facts and background of the topic. Then, awareness among varsity students. Third, comparison between student perception and the facts. Fourth is about importance of using clean, affordable, and sustainable renewable energy in our countries. Fifth is about the trade-off. Sixth is government and IMT-GT commitments. And lastly, the conclusion. In this part, we're gonna answer that question: are we on the right track? All right, guys. So it's presenting on the screen right now is Sustainable Development Goal number 7 of the United Nations, which our topic is based on. The seventh goal is to ensure access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all. Okay, so we will move on to facts and background of our countries. In this part, we will discuss on access to electricity of our countries, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand. Then we're going to talk about sources of energy generated in our countries. And lastly, about percentage of renewable energy generated in our countries. So for access to electricity based on percentage of population in Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand. Okay, here we go. And you can see that the electricity access levels of all three countries are extremely high, right? With 100%, 99.7%, and 98.9% for Malaysia, Thailand, and Indonesia, respectively. Okay, so we will continue talking a little bit about the background with my friend. Bye. Hello, Panata.
Thank you, Laya. This slide is about the sources of electricity which generated in Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand. Next, the first country is Indonesia. Indonesia generates natural gas, crude oil, coal, geothermal energy, and hydropower. Next country is Malaysia. Malaysia generates natural gas, deteriorate, coal, solar, and hydropower. And the last country is Thailand. Thailand generates natural gas, crude oil, coal, solar, and hydropower. And the next slide is about the percentage of renewable energy which generated in Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand. They are not 18%, 11.15%, and 10% for Malaysia, Indonesia, and Thailand. Next is about the awareness among varsity students. Based on our survey, we have conducted a simple survey on more than 100 respondents throughout the 3 countries. And this is our first question. Are you aware on the importance of renewable energy in promoting a clean and free pollution energy? And the first result is from Thailand. They are 98.3%, and the second one is from Indonesia. They are 96.2%, and the last one is from Malaysia. They are 85% that they are aware on the importance of renewable energy as a clean and free pollution energy. Next question is, do you give on uses of renewable energy in generating electricity in your country? Wow, that's 100% from Malaysia. And the second one is from Thailand. They are 98.1%. And the last one is from Indonesia, which have 96.6% that they agree on the uses of renewable energy. Next is our last question. What do you think about the rate of your electricity bill that you're paying? The first country is for Malaysia. They said that they can affordable. Parallel to, they said that it's expensive and the rest is cheap. Next country is Thailand. Thailand, most of them said that they can affordable, and the rest one they said that it's expensive. And the last country is from Indonesia. Indonesia, most of them said that they can affordable, and they are 37.7% that they said it's expensive, and the next one they said that it's cheap. And next slide is about the students' perception versus facts. First, I will present about it.
Or I will talk about the student perception versus the fact. Okay, which this part will explain the awareness and acceptance of the student from the 3 countries who went to trash the survey and the sources of the fact that have been taken as a reference in our to students in 3 countries, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand. Okay, for the first is the primary energy source that are using now in the Indonesia. Show the student perception in core is 49.1% versus the fact of the 4G energy is mean 45% in Indonesia. Okay, so for Malaysia, the primary energy source they are using now show the petroleum energy in student perception is 67% versus the fact of the natural gas in Malaysia only 55%. Okay, for the last one is Thailand, which show the family energy sources that are using now in student perception is is 67% in petroleum energy versus the fat. And in natural gas is 60.3%, and the other than fat is 39.7% in Thailand. Thank you.
So the next one that our group wants to point out is the importance of using clean, affordable, and sustainable renewable energy in the context of our three countries, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand. Our group has presented about the data and the survey that we have collected during this program regarding the electricity and the energy that our three countries have. And there are three main points that I want to elaborate. The first one is to generate clean energy. Why? Because based on the data and the survey that we already collected, we found that the main energy that most of the three countries are using right now to generate the electricity are fossil fuels. For example, coal, petroleum, natural gas. And do you know that these fossil fuels are also the main source, the major cause of health and environmental problem. So these fossil fuels that the three countries are using right now have caused many health and environmental issues in these three countries. For example, people that lives near the steam power plant and have higher chances to get upper respiratory tract infection, and the steam power plant itself will generate waste that will have negative side effects to the environment. For example, the solid waste such as coal dust from burning the coal or oil, and then the next one is the waste gas. For example, gas produced from the burning, for example, carbon monoxide, nitrogen dioxide, sulfur dioxide. And then there is also liquid waste that will also have negative side effect to the water around the area itself. So we want to point out the importance of using clean renewable energy to generate clean energy. By using renewable energy, we hope that we can reduce the health and environmental problem itself. So the next point that we want to point out is to make electricity affordable. So back to the data and the survey we presented before, around 30 to 47% of the people still think that the electricity that they are paying right now is considered expensive. And then because of the this is considered expensive because of the this is based on the data we get from the three countries. So by using we hope that by using renewable energy itself, we hope that every people from each nation can have access to stable and affordable energy or electricity. The third point that we want to point out is to have a sustainable future. Why? Because we know that the sources of renewable energy are unlimited, and its production doesn't have negative impact on lives and environment. We all know that the source of renewable energy came from the solar heat, the water, the wind, and other things, which is unlimited until the end of the world. So we will have unlimited energy until the end of the world, and that's the best thing of renewable energy itself. So that's why we support the use of renewable energy, and this is the importance of using clean, affordable, sustainable energy in the context of Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand. The next one is the trade-off that will be given by Daos.
All right, great. So we move to trade-off. Thank you very much for the merit and my friend. So we must have something that will be trade-off to in order to have the country, these three countries, have dependent to renewable energy. So the four pillars that we set up is less investment in the sector to make sure that we have such a fund of money to be invested in the renewable energy infrastructure, and then we must enhance, or we must tackle up the high startup expenditure to make sure the government is supporting the private sector to make sure they can conduct it or can build some of the renewable energy to make sure our country in the right track. And then now we have low production of electricity using the renewable energy. So so in trade-off, they must have reduced in dependent on the non-renewable energy such as fossil fuel, and then they must they must enhance or migrating to renewable energy, and then they must dependent on foreign technology to make sure there are some important technique or skill that can be brought into the country, especially from the main player of the renewable energy, such as Europe and United States. So that there's something we must trade off to ensure to make sure these three countries or this region will be dependent based on the nation aim and based on every age of government target. So next I will give to my friends.
All right, thank you. So right now I will explain about government or IMT-GT commitments. The first one, we have to impose consistent and transparent renewable energy policies. The second, we have to clear short-term steps to achieve a long-term of goals, because there are so many our countries that we have just a long-term, not short-term as the quick deadline for the achieve renewable energy. The third, we have to raise awareness of citizens toward renewable energy. We know that due to the fact that our citizens just to know that the energy is only for their consumption, they have to know that how to produce the clean and free energy from renewable energy. And the fourth, we have to support our local renewable energy producer. Next slide, please. All right, so the next is we have to facilitate access to renewable energy innovation, like the new power plant or another like that. We have to share knowledge of renewable energy within IMT-GT region, and we have to establish renewable energy association between IMT-GT countries. Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, so that is some of our point of view and some of our data, our investigation, our research on behalf of our part to make sure we have or we can determine either we are on the right track. So in conclusion, you see every government of our country has make up some aim, such as Malaysia, 25% dependent on renewable energy by 2015 with 300 billion of investment in ringgit Malaysia. And then we have in Thailand, they are targeting by 2037, they have 30% on dependent on the renewable energy. And then we have in Indonesia, by 2025, they will target it to using 23% of renewable energy in their pie chart of energy. So we see even there, if the government is supporting the United Nations aim to have dependent renewable energy in our country, but as we see, even though we are on the right track, but we are much slower to achieve what being set target globally. But we can't deny that there's some effort to make sure the renewable energy dependent it will be a reality in these three countries. But anyway, it's such a great effort to the government. But due to some issue like a political issue, like the fund issues and many factors to make it much slower from what being planned ahead. So what we hope as a student, as a citizen, we hope the government can imply or can make it much faster to make sure our next generation, what we have make a voice today is for our next generation, for our brothers, for our sisters, and for our children to make sure they have much clean, affordable, and reliable energy ahead. So on behalf of our group, we are thankful to our mentor and our university counterparts and our friends and relatives, and also all the audiences that see us today, that watch us today. So thank you very much and have a good day from our group. So thank you.
Thank you so much to Group B. Now we move to the last group, Group D. So for your information, Group D has been mentored by Associate Professor Dr. Shazmin Aniza Abdul Shukur. So I would like to invite Group D to introduce your members, and then you may start your presentation.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. First, thank you, everyone, especially the IMT-GT UNINET Virtual Mobility Program, Teen Talk Project with Series 2, for chance to speak here. Today, we are going to present, to talk or discuss that interesting about affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy. Do you guys follow what currently happens in the world? For what we are doing, is it good enough? Are we on the right track? Here is a brief introduction for our group. We come from different universities and countries. First, my leader, Rido Endesaputra from UNET Indonesia, Auza Amrina from USK, Indonesia, Aina Jiha Abdurrahman from UUM, Malaysia, Nur Aisyah Muhammad Noor from UniMAP, Malaysia, Pithiapon Sawitprom from Thaksin University, and me, Walid Fibaka from Prince of Songkla University. Now, moving to our presentation outline for this topic. The first one we are going to talk is a background information about access to electricity, sources of electricity generated, awareness among university students, population access electricity, the importance of energy, perception, the facts, government IMT-GT commitment, last one, conclusion. For introduction, I will give Auza to explain about it.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, when we're talking about energy, we all know that the lack of access to energy is a constraint to human and economic development. Thus, United Nations has set the target of affordable and clean energy in the Sustainable Development Goals number 7. It is stated there that by the year of 2030, United Nations will ensure universal access to affordable, reliable, and modern energy services. Then, improve the energy efficiency, enhance international cooperations, promote investment, and upgrade the infrastructure and technology for supplying modern and sustainable energy services for all in developing countries. On top of that, let's jump to the fact on how is exactly the energy in Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand. Alright, in Indonesia itself, we got the information that the electrification ratio in 2020 is 99.2%. There are some villages that still cannot access the electricity, especially in the lowest one, Papua and East Nusa Tenggara. While in Malaysia, it is reached to 99.9% electrifications, which is 2% of the populations in Sabah also has no access to the electricity. And for Thailand, it is reached 99.9%, with some houses that still cannot access the electricity as well. Well, what about the source of electricity generated in these three countries? In Indonesia itself, by the total of electricity, about 85% is generated by fossil like coal, natural gas, and petroleum, while the other percent for about 15% is generated by renewable energy sources like hybrid, bioenergy, geothermal, hydro, wind, and solar. In Malaysia, it is 94% of the total electricity is generated by fossil, and the other 6% is generated by renewable energy from hydropower, bioenergy, wind energy, waste, geothermal, and solar panel. And the last one, in Thailand, it is about 80% of the total electricity is generated by non-renewable energy. It is include a combined cycle power, coal, natural gas, and petroleum, and the other 90% is generated by renewable energy. Well, for the next explanations, I will hand over it to Ain.
Next, about the awareness among varsity students. We conduct this study based on the knowledge among the group members. Firstly, let's see the percentage of population can access the electricity based on three countries, which is Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand. Based on the perception from Indonesian students, they think that 95% of the population can access the electricity. While, based on the perception of Malaysian students, one of them said that 99.9% of the population can access the electricity. And another one gave perceptions that only 99% of the population can access the electricity. And for the students from Thailand, one of them said that 100% of the population in Thailand can access the electricity, while another said only 60% population can access the electricity. Furthermore, the electricity bill per month based on three countries. Based on this graph,
we can see that 100% of students from Indonesia and Thailand think that they pay only 20 USD per month, whereas 50% of Malaysian students think that she pays 40 USD per month, and another 50% think that she pays 60 USD per month. This difference is found in Malaysia because there is the use of air conditioning in their homes, which makes the electricity bills increase. 100% of students from each country say that they use energy sources such as electricity and fossil fuel for better life. I pass to
From Indonesian students' perception, students think people who can reach electricity have the same stability all around the nation, while there are some areas that electricity is really unstable. Moreover, they think that some problem from electrification comes from lack of supply, while it is actually because of oversupply. In addition, they think that there would be no pollution from using green energy, but the fact is all energy can create pollution. And when we talk about the creation of renewable power plant, it causes huge costs and endangers wildlife, while they think it doesn't affect social and wildlife. Finally, they think renewable energy should stabilize, but in fact, some is intermittent and fluctuation over time. For the perception from Malaysia, student agrees that solar energy should be in the forecast for the future of Malaysia, and this is aligned with the aspiration of Sustainable Energy Development Authority of Malaysia, and most of whom aren't aware on the disadvantages of fossil fuel, that it launches a lot of carbon dioxide and greenhouse gas into the atmosphere. And from Thailand, students think that should be 100% of Thai population that can access electricity, while the World Bank mentioned that only 99.9% of whom can. Additionally, solar energy is mostly used in rural areas where the government cannot give electrification, while they think it is mostly used in Thailand now. Last but not least, they think solar energy is the biggest form of renewable energy in Thailand. In fact, hydro energy is the biggest one. And should we ask, why do we have to change from fossil fuel energy to renewable energy? We all know that fossil energy resources are limited and causes carbon dioxide and greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, which are the main cause for global warming and climate change. While one of the benefits of renewable energy is sustainability of clean energy supply in long term, so it creates less pollution than fossil fuel. Another benefit is the reduction of greenhouse gases that have negative impacts on the environment from fossil fuel consumption. Since renewable energies are the most sustainable kind of energy that can save our planet for the next generation, so why don't we change? All right, now next, let's discuss about government or IMT-GT commitment. Please welcome Aisha.
Hello everyone, let's talk about government or IMT-GT commitments. First, I will present about Indonesia country's contribution. Through Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resource press release 13 January 2021, they said they committed to providing electricity access with good quality and affordable price. Second, they still giving close attention to principles of quality, efficiency, and environmental impacts. Lastly, they said they will set an electrification ratio target of 100% by the end of 2024. Next, I will go to Malaysian side government commitments. Malaysia committed to increase the percent of the renewable energy by establish a new subsidiary company under Tenaga Nasional Berhad, TNB, which is TNB Renewable Sedia Berhad, TRE. The initiative project that held by TRE is, first, large-scale solar, LSS, which is categorized as being project larger than 30 megawatts. Second, small-scale renewable energy project below 30 megawatts, including biomass and biogas project. Thirdly, retail self-generation focusing on rooftop solar and emerging technology. Next, I will go to Thailand commitments. Thailand initiative through Electricity Generating Authority of Thailand, as known as EGAT. This has to mainly rely on the imported energy more than 60% of total energy. And the main source for energy are natural gas and lignite. The government has a long-term plan for having renewable energy, which is to reduce imported source and move away fossil fuel as source of power as much as possible. Then they by using the 20-year national strategic plan. Next, I will pass the floor to my friends, Ray.
Okay. When we are talking about the trade-off in adopting renewable energy, there are many arguments that arise among the researcher. Even more, renewable energy for a long time has been seen as a luxury problem among discussed in the developed country. This kind of thinking is not with a reasonable point. This correlates with the trade-off that we will discuss in this slide. The first trade-off when we are talking about renewable energy is that policymakers have always been fussed with costs of adopting them. As we always known, adopting this kind of energy is costly, not only in terms of monetary value, such as dollar, it also costs toward the land it uses as it requires huge land plot. And more often than not, this construction of the renewable power plant also create an involuntary resettlement toward the indigenous people. For example, in Indonesia, when construction the Kota Panjang Dam for the hydropower project plant, most of indigenous people have been suffer with the lower living standard after the voluntary resettlement. So it always been a debate between the cost it occur with the cleaner and lesser emission. The second trade-off that we come up with is that adopting renewable energy massively right now with the current technology that we have might not supply enough electricity with everyone, as the usage of fossil energy at the moment is not even reliable to supply their electricity, as some of the area in our some countries still have not 100% electrification ratio. This is much more proven with how intermittent the renewable energy is, as such solar energy, and furthermore, some area of our country not really suitable with the construction of the renewable power plant. And the last trade-off that also important that there are many more agency of other problems in the developing countries that policymakers need to handle this thing as well. Such problem including poverty, inequality, healthcare problem, and quality of education. This bring more things to the tables that the policymaker need to be focused on. So we can conclude that adapting this kind of energy is a really big challenge for us, especially as a developing country, where there are many more aspects that we need to be discussed. But this should not have strike there to stop us to actually studies and research about this kind of energy. And we want to achieve the sustainability of our energy. And this step right now at the IMT-GT that we have is showing us that we still care for our earth and show us we are in the still on the right path toward the sustainable and renewable energy, because the future decision is ours. I think that's all from our presentation. Before I will close the presentation, I would like to give an acknowledgement for UniMAP for hosting this IMT-GT series, and toward our three beloved country who have a great contribution toward this event: Thailand, Indonesia, and Malaysia, and also for 6 university, UNAND, USK, UniMAP, TSU, UUM, and TSU University, who have given contribution and shared the knowledge with us. And foremost for our mentor, Dr. Sazmin, who has guided us until this long way that without her role, we will lose the guidance that we need. I think that's all from us. Thank you for your participation.
Thank you so much to all of the team, all of the groups. So we have 5 minutes only for break. So if you have any questions, you may type in the chat box. Now we move on to the question and answer session. So if you have any questions, you may ask your questions to the presenter. Okay, do you have any questions from the floor? If you have any questions, you can ask directly to the presenter. We have 4 groups, so we have 4 teams. So participants from the audience, you may ask questions, or from the group. Also, you can, if you want to ask another group, you may ask also another group. So I have several questions in the chat box. So first is actually from Abdul Hakim for Group A. Abdul Hakim posed this question to Group A. He asked the question, is it worth the renewable energy is said to be expensive even though it affects us well? So from Group A, can you answer the questions? The question is it worth the renewable energy is said to be expensive even though it affects all of us? So may I hear from Group A? Can you answer the question?
Okay, for answering questions coming to Group A, yes, renewable energy is expensive, even it affects us well. But what we need to consider is the fact that our cities, especially Jakarta, Bangkok, and also how we are placed as cities, affects the right. So by 2100, if we don't act fast and continue our investment right now and have a home to live in, we already spent so much time and so much investment already, and if that considering our prior investment and also the potential we're sinking and also how the economy is going to be affected due to the lack of access that people can have. Yes, definitely, even though it is expensive, it is the only right way for us to continue to live and continue to have a home in the future for us.
Hello, can I add?
Yes, sure.
Yeah, for a simple answer, if for example, if we wanted to buy a bag, okay, we have 50 ringgit, but the quality one costs 80 ringgit. So for example, the bag represent the renewable energy, okay. So if we wanted to invest for a long time bag, rather than buy the cheap one, which is 50 ringgit. So why not we just invest for the 80 ringgit so that we can use for a long term rather than we invest on the 50 ringgit, which we can just use only for a few months. So that's just a simple briefing about is it worth? Yes, it's worth.
Thank you to Group A for the answer. So we move to the next question. So the next questions, how to explain carbon footprint, especially to senior citizens for them to understand it, and how to relate to sustainability. Okay, so may I have the answer from Group B?
Okay, I will try my best to answer the question about carbon footprint. So as long as I know, carbon footprint is about the emission of carbon that has been resulted from any activities of human in the certain period. Why it can increase the emission of global warming. So the carbon footprint carbon footprint. Can you hear my voice again?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, sorry. Why it can increase the global warming? Because global warming has been affected by greenhouse gases. So these greenhouse gases is emitted that can cause the heat that enters the earth to be trapped in the earth's atmosphere. So it causing the global warming. And the amount of greenhouse gas emission is due to the human activities that is referred to as the carbon footprint. And we know that the carbon footprint is about our activities in certain period. So because of human activities that can like trace the carbon and the fact that CO2 or carbon dioxide it can
May I add something for the answer?
Sure.
Me also mine. Okay, yes, go ahead.
Alright, so the question to any presenter, how to explain the carbon footprint, especially. So the first thing, awareness. Everything is starting from awareness. So if we don't have any aware about how how big of the implication of the carbon footprint. So no one will do nothing. No one will do any effort. So we must have, especially to the senior citizen, you know, in these three countries, the senior citizen has been a group of hard for them to have awareness. So yeah, we must have a very radical on keeping awareness to them, right? So maybe we can have the government or any NGO can have a road through to explain how big or how this carbon footprint can be affecting them, especially for their life, and especially to we put their next generation in danger. So yeah, that's in my point of view of opinion.
Hello, can I answer the questions? I'm from Group D. Hello,
Sure,
test.
and add.
Hello, hi, I Aisha from Group D. I will answer based on the research lah. From Carbon Free org, they said that not 100% that we will get the if we use the carbon if you use renewable energy, he has have a small side effect on by carbon footprint. But if you want or not, we must to accept it. But we can't to avoid 100% of carbon footprint, but we can reduce it by we use the lowest carbon footprint effect, such as wine, solar, wine and solar. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So now we move on to the next question from Nokdia. So this question is for Group A. Do you think COVID-19 will change the way we treat environment more effectively? So I would like to invite Group A to answer the questions, because this question is for Group A.
Okay, for this question, I don't think so, because of COVID-19, the medical waste is increasing and we still see that waste still isn't damaged correctly. So it doesn't change much. For example, like wearing a mask, we can see a mask used in everyone, especially in the ocean. It's just like a temporary life due to the lockdown. Doesn't mean getting the freedom. We would change the style of living. Maybe it just change a bit 1% basically, I think. And this also depends on lights. Sometimes when we focus on combating a life and death battle using a mask, and it's also this how to call it, disposable protective wear, it's hard for us to take care of environment. And electricity reduce also reduce to some percentage, reduce convention used. Industry produce more pollution despite the pandemic. Also, it can decrease the percentage and stop global warming. This is our answer.
Hello, can I add? So basically COVID-19 does give cons and pros, okay? So the cons is like my teammates mentioned just now, which is the disposable mask, but the pros is it actually reduced the ozone layers and also reduce the electricity because due to the lockdowns and the work from home. Okay, so as the ozone reduce, the high temperature, world temperature, global temperature also reduce, which it can stop global warming. So yeah, I think it may change maybe like 1% to 2% of the global world temperature.
Okay, we go to the next question from Associate Professor Dr. Tunku Salha. In your opinion, which renewable energy source is the best? So this question I want to ask Group C. So can you answer this question? Group C.
Yes, Group C. So I'm from Group C. We'll answer the question from Mr. Tuku Soha about which renewable energy source is the best. So I think for choosing the best renewable energy sources for each country, it actually depends on the situations that the country face right now. Because for example, if we're going to use wind turbine, it's risky to be applied in archipelago country like Indonesia, because wind turbine takes up a lot of area to build, and also the thing is the turbine can affect the fauna life flying in the air. So wind turbine in Indonesia is not the best renewable energy to be applied. Hence, we can apply solar panel for Indonesia. We can install the panel over our house's roof, because Indonesia is also in the line of Khatulistiwa, which means Indonesia being lighted by sun every time. And also we can use geothermal potential because Indonesia are at the ring of fire. That's one of the example of why we have to seek for the situation of each country for applying renewable energy. That's all from Group C. Thank you.
Okay, thank you to Group C. So actually, I'm attracted to this question from Dr. Arthur, Dr. Hong Peng Yong. So his question is, if you were the Prime Minister of your country in the COVID-19 pandemic, would you prioritize the economy development of your country first, or the development and promoting the use of reusable energy, and why? So can I have the answer? Can I have the answer from Group D?
Okay. Thank you for the question, Doctor. And I'm from Redo from Group D. Maybe we would like to say our opinion regarding this matter. For example, if we are as the Prime Minister, if on each our country, would we prioritize on the economic development in the country, or the development and promoting the usage of renewable energy? Okay. Especially about this question, the real situation that we are right now is should be on the research one. We are not trying to drastically change on the way we use our energy right now. Like, we are not demolishing the fossil power plant that we have. But right now, the important thing that we have at the current step at this time is actually research and investing toward the research and development of this kind of energy. Because when we are talking, especially as a policymaker in economics, we learn that there are need of sustainability for the future. So for example, when we are scavenging the one kind of research or the resources that we have, we need to think about the future. So right now, whether if you ask about the prioritizing section, it's more like what kind of section that we are focused at the moment. For example, we still need to care about our development in the economic growth, because we are trying to improve for example, from developing countries to a more developed country. But we still need to tackle this kind of issue of renewable energy if we want to stay even longer. For example, it's like we are playing a long game instead of a short game. We try to win in the long run, not in the short run. That's why it is really best for each country to think that this kind of problem, renewable energy problem, is not a luxury problem for only developed country. We as a developing country should also pay attention to this, because we don't want to be left by the others. That's why when we are trying to prioritize, it is better for us to also prioritize in the renewable energy. So I think both of them is actually suitable, because don't let the others opinion think that we are in the situation where we have to choose one, because right now we have the resource, we have the peoples that we have right now. That's why it is better for us to actually investing toward the research at R&D and research and development in this kind of matter, and also pay attention toward the slight trade-off that we will face when we are actually adopting this one, because adopting this kind of energy is like having a marginal things. The more we have this kind of energy, the more better in the long run. I think that's all from Group D. Thank you for the question.
Okay, thank you to Group C, Group D. So that's all we can ask. We can entertain the questions. So we move on to the next session, which is we are going to do a poll. So the audience can cast your vote. So you can cast your vote for which group you want to be. Which group will be the best presenter. So, sorry, which group is the best group? So you can choose. So please look in the chat box. We do a vote. Okay, we do a poll. So you can vote. You can click on which group you think that is the best.
All right, Dr. Shahidan, we have completed the voting sessions and the result is actually on our hand now. All right, so shall we go to announce the best group for today?
Yes, sure. Okay, so the best group will goes to see the screen. Group B. Yes, Group B.
Group B for best.
So you have to treat us. Okay, so this is the results. So Group B is the best group. Okay, so congratulations.
They are actually very, very near. If you can see, Group A got 27%. It's just a shy of 2%. So unfortunately, but very good job. Everyone is a winner today. Yeah.
All right. So that is the results. So the Group B is the winner. So now we have finished already our sessions. So now we move to the closing remarks. The closing remarks will be given by Associate Professor Dr. Tunku Saha. So I would like to invite Associate Professor Dr. Tunku Saha to give the closing remarks. For your information, Associate Professor Dr. Tunku Saha is the Director of Center for International Engagement, University Malaysia Perlis. So without further ado, I would like to invite Dr. Tunku Saha to deliver your speech.
Thank you very much, Dr. Shahidan. Indeed, you have done a very good job as a moderator for today's program. Thank you very much. And everyone, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good afternoon. Respected colleagues, guests and partners from UUM, USK, Universitas Syiah Kuala, Universitas Andalas from Indonesia, and also for Thaksin University, thank you very much, and Prince of Songkla University Thailand, thank you very much, and also not forgetting our team members, colleagues, participants, audience, presenters from all universities. And surely I would like to take this opportunity to thank my colleagues from UniMAP, the organizing committee, the moderator, the mentors, the keynote speaker, the presenters, and also the audience. And congratulations to everyone involved in this program. Alhamdulillah, now we have come to the end of this second series of the Teen Talk Project Plus. So on behalf of UniMAP, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate everyone. Everyone is a winner in today's program. So congratulations again. And actually, we can see that we have an amazingly dedicated group of people. From the beginning, the organizing committee, from the 6 universities, the moderators, the mentors, the keynote speakers, from series 1, and now we are now in series 2, and we have remaining few more series to go. The participants and the audience. Alhamdulillah, we have done a tremendous job in bringing together and organizing the program to show off our best qualities of students to participate in this program. So we can see, ladies and gentlemen, this kind of program helps students to develop essential communication skills and develop teamwork, while preparing them for success inside and outside of the classroom. And we can see that the most apparent benefit from this program is the great teamwork from all the participants, the presenters that teach the presenters essential communication and social skills such as active listening and effective speaking. So when working as a team, students learn how to listen to their team members in order to perform their individual roles. Students learn how to listen to one another in order to function as a cohesive unit. So teamwork teaches students how to respectfully and confidently express their ideas and opinions effectively in a group setting. So the benefits of teamwork almost always translate into success outside the classroom. So ladies and gentlemen, I really hope that all of us will continue this valuable partnership by organizing more programs, more activities in the future. And I hope that this kind of program can be extended to a wider range of higher learning institutions in Malaysia, Thailand, and Indonesia, and the rest of the globe. So on the final note, I would like to take this opportunity to invite everyone to participate in our upcoming program of Asia Summer Program, and definitely Group B, you are now already given the award to join our ASP program in August. And again, thank you very much for your attendance this afternoon, and everyone, I wish you all the best and stay safe. May I once again express my appreciation, our appreciation from UniMAP to all of you, our guests and partners, for supporting this program and for your attendance this afternoon. It is hoped that this collaboration will expand widely in the future. Stay safe. Thank you, and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much to Dr. Tunku Salha. So for your information, attention to all participants, you may fill in your attendance forms before 2:20 o'clock. Okay, so you can fill in your attendance form. So that's all from me. So I would like to apologize if I make mistakes. So I really enjoy your presentation just now. So I thank you so much for your participation. And so I want to pass to Dr. Arthur.
Right. All right, thank you so much. The very hardworking and diligent Dr. Shaidan as the moderator today. Now, if you have any question, feel free to contact us. Over here, we are Center for International Engagement, CIE, from University Malaysia-Perlis, UniMAP, Malaysia. Once again, thank you so much, everyone. I'll see you all next time in the next series. Bye-bye, take care, have fun.